Welcome back to the Baseball Bluebook podcast. My name is Eric Wobanaw, the president of the Baseball Bluebook. Are you in the book? The most comprehensive directory since 1909 is now available for download on Google Play and Apple Store. You can also visit us at baseballbluebook.com for more information. So make sure you download it today. Costs nothing. It's great to build a profile, add highlights, add your stats for the summer season, and search our comprehensive directory. Find the coach, the program that you are interested in. Before we begin, hit that like button, share and subscribe. We want to make sure we reach other viewers just like you to get this out. Today's podcast is brought to you by Empowerment Sports Group, a full advisory and consulting firm with over 10 years of experience, educating and helping athletes develop within baseball and life. ESG enables athletes to achieve their version of success and positively impact their community. For more information, visit them at esgsportsgroup.com or on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Joseph Guzman and Michael McGinnis over there, great guys, helped a lot of players. I've had the privilege of having them on a couple of podcasts with their players, so we are excited to have them as a sponsor. Today's guest, we have Mark Hernandez from Mid-Georgia State University. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great. How are you doing? How's everything going?
Things are really good. Excited to have you on the program. You haven't had somebody at what you do, and so I'm kind of excited about talking about your journey, the ups and downs of your career, and what you're doing today. So why don't you go ahead and spend 30 seconds or a minute introducing yourself and give us a little bit of a kind of a resume of who you are.
Well, I grew up in Miami, Florida. I played my competitive baseball growing up at Tamiami, in the Tamiami Park. It was a very competitive and intense upbringing in the game of baseball. So I learned to compete at a very young age. I loved it. So I worked really hard at the game. I was really blessed to come across some great coaches in Miami, and it facilitated a pathway to New York City, the Big Apple, in Brooklyn, New York, and I was able to play for LIU Brooklyn, now known as Long Island University. So, they're the Division I school. I really enjoyed my time there. I gave it everything I had in the game of baseball, and I got my degree in sports science, and I fell in love with biomechanics and helping people understand how their bodies move and how how they can train their bodies to produce what they want on the field and learn to be as adaptable as possible. And that's just how it is in this game. So it was a upbringing that I really enjoyed. I take great pride and passion in what I do. So it's going to be a fun experience for me the rest of the way as well. Like, there's not a day in my life that I work.
That's awesome.
Coach now at Middle Georgia State. The pitching coach, strength coach.
Okay.
And I actually do work with hitters as well, and after hours, things of that nature.
Yep. And
just get them their reps. And I'm really happy here in Cochran, Georgia. Love what I do. If we are an NAI, and
that's great.
D1 NAI, there's no difference. There's really good baseball everywhere you go.
Yep.
I'm just excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Man, that's great. Okay, we're gonna jump all the way back, because one of the things that you just said that I really like to hear is the competitiveness at a very young age. You loved it. So I typically take people back in their journey, and we're gonna start there. So talk about, most kids they join the local team. It's not a travel team. There's not a lot of competition. They figure out if they like it. You went right into competition. So is that because of the family? Is that because of where you were? What was the reason for you going competitive right out the gate?
Well, I did have an older brother who was in high school, and right around, his senior year was about my 6th grade year,
Yep.
And that's when baseball can get pretty serious for a kid who's playing in Miami, traveling all across the country.
Yeah.
I loved going to my brother's games, and my dad was always in love with the game of baseball. So when I was young, I would watch baseball games with my brother and my dad, and I was instantly into it. I was a Florida Marlins fan. 2003 I was 8 when I was 8 or 9 when the Marlins won their first second World
Yeah.
Series, and that was something I'll never
Was
forget.
Jimmy
And
was
that
was was, was Leland the manager?
no, it was Jack.
It was Jack. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, 2003. And that was so. I
Okay.
mean,
That's right. That's right.
yeah, that part of me wanting to become competitive because I saw how how cool it was, and I felt emotions when they won it, and
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. So I got into competitive travel ball. I played with the Miami Rangers back in the day, and we would win a lot of games. I mean, we didn't always. I wasn't always on their team. I was playing against them, and I would lose, and I would lose, and I would lose again, and I didn't like losing anymore to the Miami Rangers, and I actually refused to play for them. I was like, I want to beat them, not. And as a matter of fact, I joined their team, and then I started winning.
Well, that's good. That's good. So the other thing is, all right. So you went to what school did you go to? What university did you go to?
I went to Long Island University
Okay.
in Brooklyn. They recently merged with Long Island
Yep.
University Post, and it's now located in Long
Right.
Island rather than in the city. So the university has two locations now where I play
Okay.
ball.
So recruiting. To walk through the recruiting process. So that's a big move from Miami, where you've got there's 100 schools down there, and you went up to Long Island. So what kind of talk about the whole process of that?
That's a great question. So my sophomore year, I played for a man named Ralph Suarez and Armando Rodriguez at Miami Christian School. It's a lower 1A, 2A school down in Miami, which allowed me to have more of a specific investment into me. And Ralph really took his time and he poured, his passion and love for development into
Mm-hmm.
me. And I got better. I got a lot better, and I kept getting better. And he put me into contact the summer of my sophomore year, and going into my junior year with Craig Noto at Long
Oh,
Island
okay.
University. Yeah. And Craig Noto ended up scheduling a workout, 1 year later with me in my junior year. I think we drove up to West Palm Beach. Ralph was a huge facilitator in that, and I put on a show. I got a very good scholarship
Yeah.
from it, and Ralph and Armando both believed that that was the right place for me to go to get
Yeah.
better and to be with people that they trusted my development
Well,
in those
that takes
areas.
a lot of trust. You just mentioned trust, right? There's thousands of schools that have baseball. I think it's 1,800 actually, and there's a lot of choices and there's a lot of good schools, and there's ones that aren't necessarily as good. So trusting the people that have brought you up in order to move up 1,000 miles away.
Yeah.
That's a big move
Yeah.
for you. How'd your parents take that?
My parents were fine.
Okay.
I mean, I had been traveling since I was like 12, 13 years old. I played for like a team in California called, OC Hawks with a big league.
Oh, okay.
He flew me out there. I stayed with him in his house. So like from a very young age, I established that baseball came first,
Got it.
and it didn't matter if it was across the country. I wasn't going to get too homesick, and
That's cool.
I was going to be able to persevere. And so when New York came knocking, I didn't really hesitate. I mean, it was a Division I scholarship,
Mm-hmm.
a very good one. I'm blessed for it. I thank Craig Noto every day. I talked to him earlier today, and it's the most important decision that I ever made in my life. And I didn't second guess it whatsoever. I mean,
That's great.
I committed early. I committed
Yeah.
after my junior year, but
So here's the part here's what I want to get into, because I think your story is pretty interesting, and I think a lot of kids would be interested in hearing it, because you were basically recruited D1 to be basically a pitcher and infield, correct? So it was hitting,
Yeah.
it was everything.
Yeah, so I've been a two-way my whole
Yeah.
life. I went ahead and had a very competitive high school career. Craig Noto told me when I first got on campus in Brooklyn that I just need you to hit for the first 2 years, and by the third year we'll revisit it.
Okay.
Well, that went along as planned, as Craig Noto imagined, and my third year came around, and I pitched game 3 on the weekends. I was in bliss. I mean, I love to have as much impact as possible on winning the game, and there's no greater impact than the man that's in the circle. The whole game's tempo goes on whether or not he throws the ball.
Right.
So every time that I got the opportunity to take winning into my own hands, I would seize it. I would love that opportunity, and it was just a great competitive battle each and every time. Couldn't replace it.
That's awesome. So we've got a two-way D1, top of the class. You're killing it, and you've got the excitement of someone that is basically going to start game 3 or 4 of the World Series. Your attitude is unbelievable. What happened, and where you're at today? Why are you so excited about what you're doing?
It's 100% part of my own personality. I like to invest my energy and passions into what I'm doing. I really enjoyed the art of competing. Like it was like the process beforehand that led to quality competition was just as important to me. Now I will tell you that there was a moment in time where I thought that I was going towards something good. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I developed a hole that's like this big in my back. And I did not understand that I had a hole in my back. And people were not necessarily telling me that there was a hole in my back. And there was. There indeed was. I had a hole in my swing, and I had no idea where it was in the moment. And I felt like I had always been able to adjust, and I'd taken great pride in not striking out, being a good clutch hitter, remaining with a pure approach. So when I expanded my knowledge onto a different type of swing, it was a process that I invested in for about 6 to 7 months. And, I was wrong. As a player, I tried to take, my career in my own hands and pour everything I had into it. I repped out that swing, 300, 400 times a day. I mean, I really did. I just didn't train it. I didn't train it exactly how the eyes need to be trained. So
really so you had something that was pretty. I mean, that's as devastating as an injury. I mean, a career.
I had a couple of injuries.
Right.
As well. I broke 3 feet.
So you had quite a bit. So you had the physical injury, and then you had this mental hole that you tried to figure out how to fix. One thing that
I broke my foot, yet I still played 3 seasons. It just so happened to work out that I was able to recover in the times that I did, and I played. I was all conference 2 times, and then my third year is when I started that new process. I was searching for more power to try to get drafted, and in my search for more power came this.
Well, no, I'm sitting here thinking about you as a coach. You're probably one that doesn't allow any excuses whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, you got to bring it. You got to bring it around me. I brought it to my own teammates. I was like, you're not getting that excuse.
Right.
Let's go. Get underneath that bar.
Right.
I got you. I'll spot you, even as a teammate. I mean, I had, the truth is that as a freshman in college, I worked out around guys like Brad Reimer and Evan Zerf at LIU, and I had people like Richard James and Joe Lego there to watch over me
Yeah.
as I got stronger and invested in myself. And those guys demanded it. When I first walked in the weight room, they were lifting on the on in the man's rack, and
Right.
I was on a normal rack, and I was like, "Hold on 1 second, guys, I want to go lift with y'all."
Yeah.
And I remember Brad was like, "You're not ready for this. Stay over there." And I was like, "Watch me. I will be over there very soon."
It sounds like we had to give a shout out to your older brother, because this is all sounds a lot like a little brother attitude, right? I'm going to prove to you that I can do it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I wasn't gonna lose to my brother either, even as a kid. I mean, I played him in basketball a ton, and he was whooping me up for
Yep.
the first year, and then I went and did 100 hook shots left-handed, 100 hook shots right-handed every day for a whole summer until I beat him.
There you go.
And and I finally beat him, and then he didn't beat me much anymore.
There you go.
I just don't like to lose. That's the truth, and I also really care about the process that it takes to win.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I was reading something. I was reading something today. You know who Kevin O'Leary is?
yeah.
Okay, he's on Shark Tank and different things. He did a quote today, and it said, "Win today, win every day. You have to go out every single day with the mindset that you will win. You have to have that confidence, and that doesn't mean you're winning, because if you win all the time, it's easy to have confidence, right? It's the mentality of winning no matter what happens, and I see that in you, Mark. I'm listening to you. You're contagious from just your excitement and your motivation and your drive. Your story is amazing, because you had everything to make whatever that was, and you turned it into something that was just as incredible as whatever you might have thought it would have been if you went a different direction. I think that's really what I'm trying to say is baseball, making it in baseball has nothing to do with making it in the major leagues. It's finding your place and being excited about it, that winning attitude. You win every day. You win in the weight room. You win in the film room. You win on the bases. You win in the locker room. It's everything that has to do with winning, and I think that's you just kind of. I see it just oozing out of you, just so you know, Mark.
Oh, I appreciate that. I do. I mean, I don't win everything.
No, but it's up here.
Don't.
You win here every day.
Absolutely. I'm gonna try to win every day.
Right.
I'm gonna give my best effort every day. That's something that I learned.
No, I do hear that a lot, because people go. That's why I said about excuses. You're not an excuse kind of guy, because we all have challenges. We all have things that we have to overcome. That's when it matters the most, is when you're not winning. That's when it matters the most as far as who you are. So let's talk about that with you and your players today, right?
That's perfect. That's a perfect.
Yeah. So your players today,
100%.
You've got some great kids, I'm sure. It's their scholarship. NAIA is a scholarship, so these guys are on scholarship. So you're going out there recruiting these guys. Talk about your team. Talk about this last year and what you see for the next year.
All right. I came to Middle Georgia originally, based off of how much they won. I mean, they've won in the past 4 national championships as a JUCO. They were a top 5 JUCO for 35 years. They went to Grand Junction, I think, like 21 times. As an NAI, which was we were recently converted a little over 8 years ago into an NAI when we merged with Michigan State. And Coach Knight got the job when we were a JUCO and was there through the conversion. Well, he's won a ton up until I got here, and then so when I saw that, it was a no-brainer for me to go there. I was like, this is exactly what I want to be a part of, and I'm gonna help him do the same thing. Well, we went to regionals. COVID was my first year, as a matter of fact, So that was interesting. But the next year was fantastic. I really enjoyed myself. We went to the national regional round. We call it the opening round. The winner of that regional goes to the World Series, one of the 10 teams in the country. And we started off the regional fantastic. We won 1-0 in the opening game. We lost a barn burn, like a really great baseball game to Southeastern. They were the number 2 team in the country. They hit a home run with 2 outs in the 8th. One little hanging curveball, but at the end of the day, we battled back throughout that regional, got back to them, and they ended up winning that regional and moving on to the World Series. And last year, we went down to St. Thomas and faced very good arm and Costello down there at St. Thomas. He did a great job, and it just wasn't the same exact type of outcome that we had in the previous year.
Right.
And it just wasn't the same team.
Yeah.
Every team is different. I've learned that, and there's different dynamics, but you learn something from each year. And last year, we learned a lot about team chemistry and how important it is, and how you can develop and start thinking of creative ways to teach it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, this day and age of kid is a little different, to say the least.
Totally true.
And to see, just teammates in general, just not necessarily being up to par as to what we believe is going to develop great team chemistry.
Yeah.
It's something that we reassessed and we attacked. There's nothing else to do other than to make an adjustment. Like, this game should have been called Adjustments, not baseball. I mean, it's constant.
Yep.
So it's always challenging you, and there's always going to be emotions that are involved in the process that it takes to win. So managing those emotions and inspiring the group consistently with the message of unity and hard work and preparation. This goes on and on, but that's the most important part. Winning is a byproduct of good fortune and great preparation.
Yep. That's good.
So we've been to a regional 6 straight years here at Middle Georgia. We're going to go to another regional. God bless us. This year again, and we will have only one goal.
Yep. I think that's great. So if outside of baseball, what do people know you for?
Well, I'm extremely passionate, loving, and I care deeply about the people I'm closest with. So I'm gonna be there for them. I'm gonna have their backs. I'm a Leo by nature, and I actually do like to carry myself as a lion. There's no other way about it. Like, if you're gonna be a leader of men, you have to find a way to proceed to take on a persona that is of maturity and it's not trying to be an enforcement or king of the jungle in any sort of way, but you have to embrace the lion inside of you. And I encourage all my pitchers to embrace the lion inside of them on the mound. I mean, we call it the lion's den. At the end of the day, it's you and that batter. It's a barbaric battle with a man with a rock and a man with a club, and it's just about how that person goes into it that affects how they go out.
I think that's perfect. I'll tell you what, that was a great segue kind of into to wrapping this up. But if you're going to be a leader of men, you've got to have that persona. You have to be a man. You have to be not afraid of being a man. I think that is something that people are struggling with these days, is having a man as a leader that is not compromised. And I think that's something that I truly look at guys like you, man, that's what we need. That's what the guys need. They need a butt whooping sometimes. It doesn't mean that you're not there for them. I think we've missed, right? I think we've missed something that sternness and discipline is somehow a bad thing. And I'm like, no. That's what you need.
I can tell you, I'll sign on that. I'll sign on that for sure because I got into my job right before COVID, and I got a second group post COVID that was completely transformed
Yeah.
psychologically. I saw the social immaturity. Like it was like they were newborn
Yep.
babies, and so was I.
Yep.
I was like a newborn baby because we had gone through so many different, so much
Yep.
isolation that the ability to handle and to handle people and the different mindsets and maybe a little bit of hard coaching, it was a big shock to them because they weren't allowed to leave their house.
Yep.
I mean, I was throwing in a cage 4 times a week out here in Concord, Georgia. I'm not gonna lie to you. So,
Hey, trust me.
I'm not.
I wasn't hiding either. But you know what? It's so true though. In just that short period of time, what it did to people's psyche.
It's crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you, Eric. It was crazy to me, like because the same people that I coached a certain way, I came back the same person I did actually. I mean,
Yep.
maybe a little more emotional, like in handling their reactions, but
Right.
for the most part, that was the same person that I was the year before.
Yeah.
I was shocked to see the laziness that was developed in them, and I had to like work it out little by little, and then it turned into us like
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it other than they didn't do as much when they were off all that time.
Right.
And when it came down to it, for us to ask them to do work again, some of them were just not ready for it. Like they had built up stamina for their whole career to get to college baseball, and then they got a complete break for however long it was. I can't even remember. I actually coached in the Northwoods 2 months later when they first reopened. Like I was one of the first ones out, and it was insane out there.
Right.
Too.
It was everywhere, and it's. This is a whole nother conversation, and we could go on for hours about it. But what I saw was it was fear. Fear crippled people, and they weren't able to pursue or the competitive. All the things you were talking about being a man, we were fearful of everything, anything and everything, and nobody was willing to step up and stand up and say, "This is what needs to be done." And that is it's gonna take a long time. You know, we're still kind of working our way through it. You know, we're still God, watch college football today. I mean, there's 6-year seniors. What the heck? You got 24-year-olds out there on the field. That's crazy. Playing with 18-year-olds. The whole.
I mean, it is crazy, and I think those kids got set back.
Yeah. Yep.
It's because those kids chose to play that extra year, and in my opinion, that is exactly like what COVID did, like to certain people. Like it delayed certain people off the tracks and brought them back on. It gave them an opportunity to get back on. You know, there's some kids that are older that are playing for us that have 3 years left or 2 years left, and they're like 22, 23, and it's like 1 plus 1 plus 1. What? I mean, it's truly it's throughout all the levels of sports. And
it's gonna delay. I mean, it's got to wash its way through the whole thing because you got kids that are coming in that there's no roster spots for them because people are being held on for extra years. It's crazy. Hey, we're wrapping up here. It's about time. Mark, this has been a lot of fun. We need to do this again because we could talk about 20 different things. I really appreciate you getting on. Hey, real quick, I usually ask this on shout outs, but I want you to do a shout out. You've done it throughout the whole thing, but a couple shout outs of guys that were really instrumental in your development and where you are today. And then the other thing is I have to ask for a quick shout out about the Baseball Blue Book. A couple of things that you said about it earlier. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, I've been influenced by 2 people that have been in my life since the very beginning. my mom and my dad, Yolanda and Heriberto. Heriberto is he's a steady Eddie, and Yolanda is as sharp as can be. And they both of them, like, in my life, was amazing to have, and it's just a blessing every day to have my
That's
parents.
great.
And beyond that, though, there's been a lot of coaches. I'll just name them: Ralph Suarez, Armando Rodriguez, Rich Garnlier, Craig Noto, Tom Cardy, Dan Perillo, John Wisniewski. It goes on. This network, my network, is the people that are closest to me they're really important to me.
That's
So
awesome.
I keep in touch with them, and I make sure that they always know that I have love for them.
That's
so,
great.
I'm appreciative of them.
Awesome.
They are just amazing people. Ralph was as blue collar as it ever got. I mean, he would run 5 miles next to me, running 4 miles on the treadmill back in the day. So, and he would not let me get off. He would not let me.
That's awesome. That's great. It's good to have people like that in your life.
And then absolutely. It pushed me to break through certain walls. But, the Baseball Blue Book, app, podcast, this entire situation is it's good for the game. It's good for all of us out here that are coaching the kids that are post-COVID. It allows us to understand how certain kids get reached. It is the coolest platform I've seen.
Awesome.
For any sort of like knowledge-based information for coaches. If you are a coach out there, download the app, because it is going to be huge one day. I know it. I mean, you can see how these things trend. I mean, TikTok wasn't TikTok before it was TikTok.
It's true.
It just happens. These things do happen once you get it out there. So for the coaches world, in the coaching world, it's very connected, and we all know the Baseball Blue.
Awesome.
I mean, we're really thankful for you, and we really appreciate everything that you guys are doing, and it's fantastic work there.
There you go. How about that? Are you in the book?
Yeah.
We know you are.
Am I in the book now?
We're printing shirts that say "I'm in the book," or hashtag "Are you in the book?" Yeah, we've got a couple of things going. So, Mark, thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I'm excited to watch your career. Man, you're a firecracker, man. Like I said, I'd send my kid up to you any day, whip him into shape, and make him a great baseball player. And I think it's commendable. You're just a good guy. So I really appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with you. And we're going to wrap up. So, hey, thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you and getting to know you. I embrace the firecracker in me, and I just try to aim it away from them and make sure that I teach them.
Sometimes
it's about instruction.
Sometimes people get hurt with excitement. They got to be careful.
We don't want that. And it's all for the best interest in that.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and share this video. And please subscribe to the Baseball Bluebook podcast for additional